And yes, it's official. Football season is officially started, underway. And before I get into all the stuff that I want to get into with the Dallas Cowboys and the NFL season and the New York Giants, I first want to thank the folks over at yourdailycowboysfootballfix.com. Once again, check that site out. We're over there. Articles are being put up about all the players on the team, history, a bunch of other different ideas. You got Cowgirl Cass over there, and you got CJ Wright as well. I mean, they do a fantastic job, a host of other guys. So definitely check out the website. As we get on to the football season that's about to kick off momentarily, I just want to say, at this point, nobody's bad. Nobody stinks. Well, maybe the New York Jets, but no, that's no. But nobody stinks yet. Nobody's losing games yet. No one is full of injuries, and the season is over. No one's chasing that last playoff spot. So we've all got a chance from 1 to 32. So everybody's got a chance right now. Even if it's a figment of our imagination, we do have a chance to compete for the Lombardi Trophy. Now, will we? Will your team? That's all still left to be discovered by the season. So let's talk about some things that we know about the Dallas Cowboys, or that we found out about the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys appear, after everything we've seen from OTAs, training camp, mini camp, preseason, appear to be a contender. Now, they haven't, and I want to preface, before I get into this, I want to preface this. They haven't looked like a contender. So everybody who's saying, yeah, the Cowboys always look like contenders. No, they haven't. To the real people who understand the intricacies of the Dallas Cowboys, the little nuances, the things that go on inside of the Dallas brass, the Cowboys haven't really had the talent that everybody in the media thinks they have. Well, the Cowboys always had the talent to win the Super Bowl. I disagree. So, this year, though, I feel like the Cowboys can compete. Now, will they win a Super Bowl? Will they make it to the Super Bowl? There's a lot of things, a lot of moving parts that have to really materialize before the Cowboys can go forth and we can claim that they have a chance to win the Super Bowl. But I think they can contend and win a game or two in the playoffs. And that's what I think is expected this year, right now, from this team. So let's talk about some of the things that we know about the team. Well, we know almost seemingly overnight, we've pretty much microwaved an offensive line. We brought in Ron Leary. He's starting to work out pretty well. Now Brian Waters has been signed, and he's going to probably play right guard. Mackenzie Bernardo had a decent preseason. So you got the rookie who we've been talking about here on the Bootz Sports Show. We've watched film. We broke down film. I've given you guys some tools to go watch him. Watch Peter Kahn's tape. Watch Monty Ball's tape. And watch the kid, Travis Frederick, who has pretty much shut everybody up about him being over-selected. And by the way, I won't talk too much about him, but he'll have a lot of work to do against the Giants, blocking Cullen Jenkins and possibly blocking Linval Joseph. But go back and redo the draft. And I'll bet you there aren't too many players right now, knowing what we know now, and I'm talking injuries and everything. I'm talking underperformers, suspensions, whatever's going on in the league. I'll bet you there aren't too many players. And I'll bet you there might not even be a handful of players that you would still select right now, knowing what we know now. This kid is a starting center, and we're going to see him put to work right to the flames, right to the fire. So we know now that our offensive line has been improved. Okay? We know that Tony has looked remarkable. Remarkable. He's looked better this preseason than I've seen him look since he's been a starter. He's looked great. Hasn't thrown any bad passes. You know, so this kid has looked really good. Now, granted, he got a little bit of paycheck, got a little bit of money, but he's earning it. So I think that this team is ready to move past that mediocre tag that we were placated with before. So think about, or I should say over previous years, we were placated with this, mediocre team, and that's what we've been. Now, take a look at Dez Bryant, what he's bringing, what he looks like this year. Now, I had a disagreement with a couple of my buddies a few months ago, and they were trying to decipher whether Dez Bryant was a #1 wide receiver or not. Now, I said he was. They were telling me that's still yet to be determined. He's not a #1. They were comparing him to guys like Deshaun Jackson and other things like that. Well, since I last said those statements a couple months ago, now I'm hearing Michael Irvin say, "Oh, this guy's going to be the MVP of the league." I'm hearing guys from all different media platforms, not even the Dallas Cowboys, saying that this kid is going to be the 1 or 2 best wide receivers in the league this year. So forget whether he's a 1 or 2. Now we're trying to determine if he is #1 or 2. So that, second wide receiver tag and comparing him to Deshaun Jackson, some of these other guys, these other #2s that they're comparing him to is ludicrous. If you've been watching this kid, and you will see some highlights if you're not seeing them already, that I'll be infusing into this video, definitely watch Dez, how he's looked in this camp. Now, going into that, I expect this team to improve as we go along with the season, because a lot of guys are learning on the job, like the Travis Fredericks, of the world, learning on the job. And I still think Morris Claiborne is learning on the job. He hasn't played a whole lot of big-time football, so he'll be learning wide receivers, learning tendencies. I still think he's in a growing period, and we'll talk a little bit more about him in the next few minutes. So you had to like what you've seen from the coaching staff. You had to like what you've seen from Bill Callahan calling the plays. Now, we can all talk about how Bill Callahan likes to run the football. And it's a lot easier to do, run the football, when you have the lead most of the game or the entire game. Such as the Miami Dolphins preseason game. Everybody was, Bill Callahan. Well, we started out with a 10-0 lead before the game started. Bill Callahan, he ran the football. He was great running the ball. He established the run. This is the kind of guy. Well, what happened in the Arizona Cardinals game? The Arizona Cardinals game, we didn't have the lead at all. What, did we run the ball 17 times that game? Of course. So it's easy to run the ball when you got the lead. And the Cowboys haven't had the lead. If you go back and look at the last few years, the Cowboys really haven't had the lead early in games. They've always had to come from behind. Why do you think Tony Romo has so many come from behind victories? Because he hasn't been able to rely on the defense. That may change this year. And I really do think it's a work in progress, but I do think the defense as a whole will get better. So, and I think they're going to be a very good defense, by the way, because they've worked hard. Some of these guys have worked hard, and that's not to say everybody in the NFL doesn't work hard, because I believe that a lot of people do. But this team, I know for a fact, worked hard. They preach turnovers. They've in meetings, they walk in there and they got to touch a ball when they walk into the meeting room, and on the way out, they got to touch the ball. They got a ball hanging from up in the rafters. So these guys are being force-fed with turnovers, and it's something different. They got the secondary, the guys in the secondary, like Claiborne, like our safeties, Will Allen, and these guys are using the jugs machine. The machine. For some of you guys that might not know, the machine that you place the ball in and it shoots the ball, and these guys can field punch. They can shoot it up or change the trajectory on the ball. These guys are using that. Those are things that we weren't necessarily doing prior, that I never heard of us doing. And these guys are doing it. So I'm expecting to see some big things out of this defense. Could you imagine Tony Romo with some defensive turnovers? I mean, Tony has to get the ball and get in shootouts. Could you imagine Tony with a great defense and or a running back? And then speaking of that, a lot of talk about DeMarcus Ware looking great this preseason. A lot of talk about Dez Bryant looking great this preseason. DeMarco Murray, now you can talk about the fumble and all of that, and that does need to be addressed whenever it happens, if it happens. But DeMarco Murray has looked okay too. He's looked pretty good. He just looks like he's a little bigger, a little stronger, and not that he's ever lacked that, but he just looks like he's doing the right thing. So hopefully we'll see him on the field, and if not, we have some contingency plans in place for guys to come in and take some of the load off his back, a la John Randall and You got Joseph Randle, and you got Dunbar. So Lance Dunbar and Philip Tanner. So these guys can come in there and take some of the load off and minimize some of the badgering that may go on at the running back position. So am I excited about this team? Absolutely. I'm also going to tell you a little bit later on in the show where I predict this team, win-loss, what I predict them to look like at the end of the season. So the good thing about some of the moves that we've made, and Dallas has traded picks, brought in special teams help, brought in pass rushers, brought in guys that look like they can contribute. This team has done a fantastic job. You guys killed Jerry Jones. You killed Jason Garrett. And a lot of it is rightfully so. But they have, if you look at the depth on this team, the Cowboys have done a tremendous job at integrating youth and depth. Players that can come in and play. And I said this to you guys a few shows ago. Had the Cowboys had this depth last year, I'm not even talking about the talent. I'm not talking about talent. I'm just talking about depth. When they were playing the Washington Redskins, and yes, Tony threw 3 interceptions that game. They were playing the Washington Redskins on the road. Had they had a Terrence Williams, had they had a Gavin Escobar, had they had some of these guys that could have came in and played, we might have been able to still win the division and overcome the turnovers that we had that game. Because we didn't have guys like that standing on the sideline. If something happens to Ron Leary, Mackenzie Bernardo can come in off the sideline, and he's a good play as a backup. You know, something happens to Travis Frederick, you know, Mackenzie Bernardo can slide in at center. He's done it. We've seen him do it. He's played well at center, played well enough for us to win games. So we got a lot of guys that can come in and help. You know, Scandrick goes down, guess what? B.W. Webb, that's right, you get thrown to the wolves, but you got somebody there. You got somebody who played the position at a high level at some point in their career, even though they're young. So you got guys that can come in. Guess what? Will Allen, say something happens to him. You got a young kid, a budding star right before our eyes, J.J. Wilcox. He can come in and help out. I mean, this is pretty much throughout this team. Now, we do have some concerns. We do have some areas of concern, and we will talk about those concerns. Matter of fact, we're going to talk about them right now. My main 2 concerns that I'm going to say. My main 2 concerns. One of the, I'll do it this way. The secondary 2 areas of concern are the secondary and I know that sounds crazy, but I'm going to tell you why I'm saying that. And the defensive line. Now, obviously, we know Jay Ratliff's not going to be able to help us out, and who knows when he's coming back. But when you got guys like Landon Cohen, and we just heard Bill Bass just separated his shoulder, he's out 2 to 4 weeks. Most people are saying, who's Bill Bass? Well, Bill Bass, that's who he is. I'm sorry, Ben Bass. Let me get it right. I'm thinking of the shoes, Bill Blast. But Ben Bass. And it don't make a difference who I say, because the average person don't know who it is anyway. That's how, what we're talking about as far as depth there. Now, you're also talking about Jason Hatcher, who's going to come out, and he's had a really good camp too. But we got to see him do this in games and be a terror in games. We haven't seen that. We've seen plays from Hatch, but we haven't seen a whole lot of dynamic every quarter he's coming at you. We haven't seen that. So we still got Ware. We probably won't have Spencer. These maybe little concerns. That front line is questionable, especially going into this game. Now we will get Spencer back within the next couple weeks, Anthony Spencer, but right now there's some concerns there. Pass rush up the middle. What about tackling? What about holding up the line of scrimmage? All those things are going to be checked this week against the New York Giants on Sunday. Now, my other concern in the secondary, I kind of got, it's kind of a 2-part, a 1 and 1A. We don't know what Will Allen is. And we know that in the preseason, he showed up made a couple plays, got hurt one time but made plays. We really don't know. We really don't know that we have a really good secondary. You don't know, what you got with injuries with Barry Church. You don't know. He looks great, looks fine, but when the bullets flying, let's see what's happening when the games count. We haven't seen a lot of that. So we're going to find out how good or bad our secondary is. But my main concern in the secondary doesn't involve any of those guys. To me, it involves Morris Claiborne. And the reason I'm concerned about him is because we traded up and gave away a second-round pick to get this kid. Now, I haven't seen stardom, and it's early, but I haven't seen stardom. As a matter of fact, I haven't seen a meaningful play of stardom. Now, I've seen him make a play, but it didn't, it was an interception that was thrown to him in the end zone from Cam Newton. Or was it the fumble that he picked up off the ground and ran back for a touchdown? But that doesn't scream stardom. I've seen those plays. I've seen Devontae Holloman make a play like that. So, I want to see a star, and I need to see signs of it. And I need to see it as early as Sunday. Because otherwise, I'm going to start questioning how good this kid, was it worth the picks that we gave up? Because you probably gave up a defensive tackle and an inside backer. So if you believe what Jerry Jones said about who we would have taken, we would have gotten a pretty decent Michael Brockers, the defensive tackle, had we not traded him. We would have got him in the first round. And then he said in the second round we would have took Bobby Wagner. That's words out of Jerry Jones' mouth. When he was asked after the draft, if you didn't trade up, who would you have taken? We would have taken those two guys. Bobby Wagner would have been a nice play right now, him playing where Justin Durant is playing. And then Brockers, how great would he look right now with the deficiency we have on the front line? Can't tell me Landon Cohen is Landon Cohen. All right, let that sink in. All right, you can't tell me Nick Hayden. These guys are going to play meaningful plays against the Giants, by the way. You can't tell me neither one of them are better than Michael Brockers. So just throwing that out there. I need to see the kid show up and become a star. So going forward, this is the no excuses year for me. And it should be for you as fans too. This is it. This is it. No excuses. I don't care if week 2, Kyle Orton is our starting quarterback for the rest of the year. I don't care if an injury. There are no excuses. There are no excuses. We have to win, and we have to win now. Now, I'm not going to be unrealistic and say this team has to win a Super Bowl, because that's being an unrealistic fan. It really is. I mean, how many Super Bowls have we had? And how many Super Bowl champion quarterbacks since the Super Bowl's been played? I mean, there's not a lot of them. It really isn't when you think about the history of the league. So to think that Tony Romo was due a Super Bowl, or Phillip Rivers is due a Super Bowl, nobody's due a Super Bowl. So I just want to throw that out there. I like this team. I think this is the best team. It may not be week 1, but I'm going to say this right now. This is the best team that Tony Romo has played on. Now, that might shock you, because I know we went 13-3 and lost second round of the playoffs. We had a first round bye. But when I say team, I'm talking about coaching as well. And I believe that this team is coached better. I believe the game planning is better. I believe the preparation is better. And I believe the players are better. I believe that. So you're going to get a chance to see exactly what we're going to look like this year. And I think you're going to see it early. But we're going to grow on the job. I think we're going to look a little shaky in the beginning, but I think guys are going to get experience and they're going to play better. I think, when you're looking at, think about the offensive line for a quick second. We went from being a very finesse offensive line up the middle. Phil Costa couldn't, he was a decent guy. He was decent. And he's a great backup. He looks a lot better as a backup. But this kid doesn't get pushed backwards at center. He doesn't move backward. Frederick doesn't get pushed backwards. Brian Waters, even Mackenzie Bernardo. If we didn't sign Brian Waters, Mackenzie Bernardo is not going to be laying in your lap. Now, he might let a guy through every once in a while, but he's not going to be laying in your lap. And neither is Ron Leary. Now, look, Ron Leary hasn't... We ain't seen a whole lot of Ron Leary, have we? Actually, we've seen none of them. Except for a couple preseason games last year. You haven't seen Ron Leary in a game. Nor Travis Frederick. But we've seen enough, at least of Frederick on tape, to know that this kid's not going to get pushed around. And I can't wait to see him matched up against Cullen Jenkins and Linval Joseph. I can't wait to see these guys running stunts and him having to pass off and combo block, picking up, reach blocking. I can't wait for that. I might not even see the rest of the play because I'm so focused on the center guard tandem, the interior tandem. So this is what you should be looking at too. So the team's got to do some things though. They're going to have to avoid injuries, and that's not easy to say because you can't really control them. We had freak injuries last year to Bruce Carter, Sean Lee, getting your toe bent backwards, you know, Bruce Carter dislocating the elbow. I mean, you know, so we had some real weird injuries last year that you can't really say, well, we got to avoid injuries. But I'm just saying, if you're going to tell me that this year that we're going to miss 3/4 of our team or half of our team, then I'm probably not going to be realistic thinking we're going to win. But you know my rule, there are no excuses. Now look, I can make all the excuses I want as a fan. Jerry Jones, Tony Romo, Jason Garrett, those guys can't make excuses. So let's move forward. Let's get ready to talk about what I predict this team to do. And I predict this team to win 10 games. I don't care how they get here. I don't care if they start out 0-3. 10 games. I don't care if they start out 3-0. 10 games. Now, that may or may not be enough to win a division. I think it will be, but it may not. And I don't care if the Cowboys have to backdoor in, but they got to get in. I don't care if they backdoor in, but they got to get in. And they got to make it work. You better win on the road. This team has yet to dominate at home. That has to happen here. That has to be the first concept that this team, when these guys came in together, this coaching staff, the first thing they should have said is, before penalties, before health, before anything else, we have to protect home. It was nothing like watching. I can think of historic teams that defended home in various different sports. You didn't beat the Orlando Magic with Shaq and Penny Hardaway at home. You didn't. You didn't beat them. This team needs that mindset. You ain't coming up in here and walking out of here with a W. And that's not just for the Giants. That's not for the Giants. That's for any team. Any team. You coming up in here, you getting your behind kicked. That's how it's got to be. It hasn't been like that. Matter of fact, it's been a long time since we've seen that. Teams just come up in here, beat you, inscribe stuff in your locker room. Eli Manning was here, and leave. We had what happened? T.O. said, "Get your popcorn ready." Who did we play? We played somebody. They came in the locker room in the playoffs. Was it the Giants? Spilt popcorn all over the locker room. That's what happens. Well, that's how we protect home, by hiring the maid service or the janitorial crew to come in there and clean everything up. That's how we protect the house. Can't protect it like that. But I expect a good defense and a decent running back to change some of that. And that's what you need in this league. So, Cowboys, 10-6. I believe that they can go out, and they're just as talented. And this year, they are as talented as any team in the National Football League. But I believe they're better than the Giants this week. That doesn't always mean you're going to win. Because let me tell you what the Giants do. And I live in Giant country. Let me tell you what the Giants are going to do. The Giants are the best. Since I've been watching Coughlin, I'm going to give Coughlin his credit, because the Giants are the best at preparing. This is gold nugget stuff that I haven't heard anybody say in any media, in any media outlet, no one has said this. The Giants are the best at when their players are injured and they prepare the next guy, and it doesn't matter who it is, because they're going to do a whole lot of flip-flopping. They have injuries on their offensive line too. Their center, they have the right tackle who was supposed to be the guard, the kid Pugh from Syracuse. Now he's playing right tackle. They're going to be shuffling. Linebacking core, bunch of guys you won't know. You'll see Paysinger. Sounds like a daggone sewing machine. You got Dan Connor, who you will recognize. But I guarantee you this. Those guys will play. Those guys will play hard. And they'll be prepared. And you won't know the starters aren't there. Every year it happens. It doesn't matter who they plug in. Ramses Barden came in one time. We thought we got all excited because they were missing a wideout. Ramses Barden came in there and had like 120 yards on us. So you got guys, they do a really good job at preparing guys to play that don't start and getting the same result. That's a good thing. Cowboys haven't been able to do that. Man, if Tony Romo or Dez Bryant or Sean Lee, a safety, a corner, it isn't playing, if they're not playing, the first play of the game will be a touchdown to wherever deficiency we have. That's what will be attacked. It'll be a play action. It'll be a flea flicker. Let Brandon Carr not play 3 weeks from now. Knock on wood. I hope he is playing. But let him not play. And watch the first play of every game that whoever's playing that corner is going to get beat the first play of the game. Because for some reason, we don't prepare the backups and have them, or we haven't in the past. So don't get all giddy about the Giants being banged up, because them guys will be there to play. Their backups always play well. So, but I still think when you look at them healthy, even healthy, I still think the Cowboys are a better football team than the Giants right now. I believe that. They have better players. It doesn't always guarantee a win. We've seen it before. So, you know, teams rarely go over in this league. Bad teams, 4-win teams. Eagles won 4 games last year. Eagles gave us hell 2 games we played against them. We were losing, I believe, both of them games to the Eagles. So they were a 4-win ball club. How did we look against Cleveland? Cleveland was a terrible football team last year. We went out there and Whedon was pitching the ball all over the place. If it wasn't for Buster Screen, that's a terrible name, by the way, for football. I ain't gonna lie, it is a terrible name. But if it wasn't for Buster Screen getting abused by Dez Bryant, we'd have lost to Cleveland last year. So, that being said, I'm gonna shut it down and let you guys watch the game that's about to happen soon. The Denver Broncos and the Baltimore Ravens, which should be a good one. I just want you guys to understand and know this. This is going to be a good year for the Cowboys. And I believe, and I don't say this every year. I wasn't running around. You could tell that by the second week of the season that the Cowboys were overmatched against teams. We struggled against Tampa. When we played the Seattle Seahawks game, now I was doing shows on Podbean, a different site. I had told you then that game I wasn't upset about because we lost to a better team, and that's on record. That's on podbean.com. You can go follow that and listen to that show. I said, what are you guys upset about? We lost to a better football team. Everybody was saying, how can you lose to I seen a bunch of guys screaming, how can you lose to the Seattle Seahawks? We're going to play Pittsburgh. We still got to play Pittsburgh. I said, no, that is a good football team. That's what I said. I wasn't mad at that. So, I'm not somebody here who's sitting here pumping sunshine. I'm telling you, this is a good football team, and week in, week out, we're going to have to prove it. But this team is ready to make a move. We ain't going to be sitting here talking about a mediocre team And I know injuries and all that stuff are going to come in, and we're going to have guys banged up, but this team is built for that this year. So enjoy your football opening Thursday. Enjoy it. Because I'm going to enjoy mine, and I'm going to get this video out to you guys ASAP. But listen here first. If you're not excited about this team, don't wait until late and jump on the bandwagon. This is going to be a pretty good team this year, and they're going to be fun to watch. Very fun to watch. So, I'm signing off right now, and let me just tell you something, guys. I appreciate all your support. Click the like button, subscribe to the page. That's how you show your support. I appreciate it. Fill up the comment sections. All you Giant fans, Redskins fans, whatever you want, anywhere around the league, I welcome you. Present your arguments, whatever you can do. Fill up the comment section. And oh, by the way, don't forget to check out yourdailycowboysfootballfix.com. Check out that site. I'm out of here. How about them Cowboys?